Since I was 15, William has always protected and spoiled me. I have always believed that even if every man in this world would betray me, he absolutely never would. But it was only when I was on the brink of death that I realized his deep love for me was real, and so was the fact that he had another woman on the side. As a token of my gratitude, I gave him a gift. That gift was heavy, enough to make him live the rest of his life in agony and torment. That is, if he even has a life left to live. Chapter 1. On the winter solstice. It snowed heavily. I stood by the window of the obstetrics and gynecology department, looking out at the vast whiteness, and my scattered thoughts could only form one idea. If I die, what will William do? I had come for a joyful pregnancy checkup, only to be diagnosed with kidney cancer. I didn't even know how to tell him without breaking his heart. Suppressing my sorrow, I was about to call him when, unexpectedly, I saw him and my mother-in-law in my line of sight. They were walking from the parking lot toward the outpatient building. My mother-in-law was intimately holding hands with a young girl, and William was keeping a slight distance from them. Perhaps the snow was too slippery because the girl suddenly stumbled, and my mother-in-law immediately turned to call him. Amidst the swirling snow, the tall and handsome man gently cared for the delicate girl like a beautiful picture, but one that was painfully glaring. I knew that girl well. She was his secretary, Hannah. I had no idea when their relationship had become this close. Chapter 2. William is my only family in this world. Since I was 15, he has always protected and spoiled me. I have always believed that even if every man in this world would betray me, he absolutely never would. Staring intently at the sight of William and Hannah walking side by side, I dialed his number, but he didn't answer. Even though he took out his phone and looked at the screen, he directly put it back into his pocket. I watched as he escorted the two women into the clinic and then walked alone back toward the parking lot. At that moment, my phone rang in my hand. What's wrong, Diana? Someone was just reporting something to me, so I couldn't answer. William's tone was as gentle and affectionate as always, so sincere that even his lies were undetectable. I couldn't help but wonder, how many lies has he told me? My smile stiffened slightly. I have something to tell you. I'll come to the office later to find you. He paused in his tracks, stopping in place. I'm in meetings all morning and really don't have time. How about I take a break at lunch and have a meal with you? Lately, he's been so busy, too busy even to eat with me, and often comes home after I've already gone to bed. I used to worry about him, reminding him not to overwork himself, but now I wonder, what is he so busy with? Once trust starts to crack, the fissures only widen. I couldn't understand. Life is so short. Why not love one person with all your heart, without deceit, without hurt? Wouldn't that be better? Chapter 3. I held back the questions that were about to burst out, not exposing him. I hate arguing over the phone. I prefer to talk things out face to face. In fact, when I saw the 2 lines on the pregnancy test this morning, beyond the surprise, I wanted him to come with me to the hospital. But seeing how rushed he was, I couldn't bear to take up his time. Who would have thought that the reason he left in such a hurry was to accompany someone else to the hospital? After hanging up the phone, my stomach suddenly churned. I quickly walked to the bathroom, retching, but nothing came out. As I straightened up, I suddenly heard my mother-in-law's voice in the hallway. Hannah, walk a little slower. You must be careful at all times. Don't worry. The baby is only 5 weeks old. I don't even feel it yet. There's no need to be so nervous. Silly girl. The first 3 months are the most delicate. All right. I'll listen to you. I promise to give you and William a chubby grandchild to make you both happy every day. Haha. That's wonderful. I just love your playful nature. Girl, even though William doesn't say it, he really likes your personality too. Hannah, I'm looking forward to the day when the 3 of you bring me that happiness. Something seemed to explode in my mind. It was like a bolt of lightning on a clear day, striking me from head to toe. What a coincidence, my child is also 5 weeks old. He loves me, yet he got someone else pregnant at the same time. Suddenly, I felt utterly disgusted. Just a moment ago, I couldn't throw up anything, but now I was vomiting uncontrollably. Chapter 4. Stepping out of the clinic. The snowflakes felt cold against my face. Icy. Like my heart. William's car was already gone from the parking lot, but I couldn't wait until noon to see him. I went straight to his office. The receptionist respectfully escorted me to his office. But he hadn't returned yet. I sat at his desk, looking at the photos of us from high school, college, our wedding, and our 10th anniversary celebration not long ago. My nose suddenly stung with unshed tears. The boy who was always so cool and distant, who never cared about anyone, had always been so gentle with me. Diana, don't cry. Uncle Lou is gone, but I'm here to protect you. I will never leave you. Marry me, Diana. I swear I'll protect you for the rest of your life, making you the happiest person. I, William, swear to the heavens that I will love Diana Lou and only Diana Lou for my entire life. If I betray her, let me die a miserable death. Promises are probably the cheapest things in the world. And yet, the person who heard them took them seriously. So much so that when I found out I had cancer, my greatest sorrow wasn't that I was going to die, but rather that without me, how could he, who depends so much on me, endure the rest of his life? But perhaps, without me, he might be better off? I chuckled bitterly, tears welling up. But what can I do? I can't accept it. Just then, Hannah's playful laughter and footsteps approached from afar. Thank you, Mr. Young, for taking time out of your busy schedule to have breakfast with me. I'll work twice as hard to repay you. All right, enough with the jokes. Come on, give me the cake. I've been craving this flavor for so long. You're not allowed to eat snacks right after breakfast. Come find me in an hour. Ugh, you're so strict, but, hee, I'll obey. The door opened. William's smile froze instantly when he saw me. Chapter 5. I looked at the cake in William's hand, pretending to be surprised. Is it intuition? I was just craving cake. And you brought one. William's tense expression relaxed a bit. He quickly walked over and placed the cake in front of me. I specially bought your favorite orange mousse. Hannah's face changed color, but she immediately forced a smile. Oh, Diana, long time no see. You're still as elegant and charming as ever. No wonder Mr. Young always says I'm childish and immature. It must be that grace that comes with age. Is she trying to say that my age is the only reason I can win against her? She owes me a lot, and someday, she will repay it. I smiled faintly, not responding, but William frowned deeply. Hannah, get out! She, having overstepped her boundaries, probably didn't expect the father of her child to not only refuse to indulge her mind games with me but to scold her harshly instead. She bit her lip, looking pitiful. I'm sorry, Mr. Young. I won't disturb you and Diana anymore. Unfortunately, William didn't even look at her. She left reluctantly. His eyes never left my face, and his voice carried a cautious tone. Didn't I say I'd pick you up before lunch? Why did you come over? I looked at him. The tears I had held back for so long began to fall in large drops. He was visibly panicked, clumsily trying to wipe my tears away and gently hugging me. Diana, what's wrong? What's wrong with me? I'm dying, and before I die, I find out that the person I love most has already betrayed me. And shouldn't those who betray true love pay the price? I threw the cake into the trash, crying even harder, but smiled at him. You bought the cake for her, so why lie to me? If you've fallen for a young girl, just tell me, and I'll let you be together. William, you don't have to take our past promises to heart. I only wish for you to be with the one you love and live happily every day. His face changed dramatically. The man who was always so composed, for once, was visibly flustered. Chapter 6. Diana, you are the only one in my heart. I could never love anyone else. Please don't overthink this. William's serious and sincere expression almost made me believe him. William, I'll ask you just once. What exactly is your relationship with Hannah? Seeing him about to speak, I softly added, don't lie to me, or we will never see each other again, even in death. This statement indeed made him fall silent. Gradually, his eyes began to redden. I'm sorry, Diana. I was afraid of losing you, so I kept it from you. There's nothing between Hannah and me, But she's pregnant with my child. My hands started to shake. My whole body began to tremble. This must be the most shameless thing I've ever heard. William held me tightly. His voice hurried and hoarse. 4 years. My mother has been pressuring me to divorce you because of the child issue. I didn't want to upset you, so I never told you. She likes Hannah and has been trying to pair us up. When I refused, she even threatened suicide to force me. I didn't betray you. The child is the result of artificial insemination. My mother promised that she would raise the child herself and never interfere with our relationship again. So I agreed. I'm sorry, Diana, but I just couldn't stand by and watch my mother die. So, that's how it is. It's like in the old days when a legitimate wife couldn't bear children. A concubine would be taken to carry on the family line. The only difference is that he believes that since there was no physical relationship, it doesn't count as a betrayal. I laughed. If having a child can save his mother's precious life, then it's worth it. But the once pure-hearted boy who loved me as if his life depended on it, he's gone forever. Chapter 7. William lost his father when he was young, and his mother, Eva, raised him alone. She raised William to be outstanding and always hoped he would marry a girl from a good family. But he fell deeply in love with me, an orphan, and loved me with all his heart. And I, after 2 miscarriages, couldn't conceive for many years. So, Eva secretly mocked and insulted me, even cursing me for bringing misfortune to the young family and condemning me to the 18th level of hell. But in front of others and William, she acted like the perfect, caring mother-in-law. If I said she was anything else, no one would believe me. Fortunately, William truly loved me and respected my wish not to live with his mother. With my careful avoidance of meeting Eva alone, we managed to live in relative peace for many years. But it turns out, this peace was just my imagination. I smiled, though my voice trembled. William, before we got married, she also tried to commit suicide to force you to break up with me. Have you forgotten? William's gaze flickered. His thoughts seemed to be pulled back to memories of the past. After a long silence, I heard him murmur weakly, I heard her once before, and now, she's even older. After a moment of being dazed, I felt an even stronger urge to laugh. The same old suicide drama. But this time, he made a different choice. It's as if, all these years, I've been the one standing in the way of their perfect mother-son relationship. So, they're both here to push me out? He was unnerved by my laughter and hugged me tightly again, looking at me with pleading eyes. Diana, don't leave me because of this. I'll do anything you want. Just don't leave me. Anything? All right. I nodded with a smile. I'm pregnant too. Your family won't be without heirs. Have Hannah get rid of the child and fire her, and I'll pretend none of this ever happened. Chapter 8. I stared into William's eyes. I thought, as long as he agreed, I would risk my life to bring this child safely into the world for him. But I could clearly see the shock and hesitation in his eyes. Only, there was no joy. Diana, don't be stubborn with me, okay? My father passed away early, and my mother has had a hard life. Since you can't have children, I had to choose a compromise. You and my mother are both the most important people in my life. Can't you understand my position? I fought back the pain in my heart and spoke slowly, enunciating each word. I really am pregnant. Do you need me to show you the test results? But unfortunately, I was so nauseous that I cried and tore them up. William rubbed his temples and took a deep breath. After all these years of trying so many hospitals and taking so many medications, you still couldn't conceive. I just didn't want to see you suffer anymore. So I agreed with my mother. I turned my head to the side. Oh, so he wants to have a child with Hannah for my sake? He paused and frowned, holding my shoulders. And even if you are pregnant, after all the medication you've taken, the child might not be healthy. Don't be unreasonable with me, okay? I promise, once Hannah's child is born, I'll hand it over to my mother, and I'll never see her again. Isn't that enough? You've always been so understanding. Diana, why are you making things difficult now? With every word he spoke, my heart grew colder. We looked at each other. The air was heavy with tension. Just then, Hannah knocked on the door to remind him of a meeting. I smiled faintly. Keep the child and fire her. Is that too much to ask? Seeing me smile, he seemed to let out a long breath and hugged me tightly. All right. I promise you, as long as you're not angry with me. I won't be angry, because it doesn't matter anymore. After leaving William's company, I went straight to the hospital. When the doctor suggested that I give up the child and focus on cancer treatment, I was so reluctant to part with this little one that I had longed for. I had planned to trade my life for this little one's, to let him stay with his father in my place. I believed his father would give him all his love and make him the happiest treasure in the world. Even if I wasn't there to watch him grow up, it would be okay. But unfortunately, his father doesn't love him that much, and is even looking forward to another woman's child. So why should I bring him into a life that's destined to be difficult? I didn't choose the painless surgery. I wanted this heart-wrenching pain to remind me that I'm not the only one who should suffer. Chapter 9. The surgery was completed quickly. It's so difficult to make a life flourish. Yet ending one is so simple. I took a picture of my ashen face, along with the abortion paperwork, and posted it in a private social media circle, visible only to myself. No more moonlight for William. I wonder how William will feel when he sees this post someday. But whatever he feels no longer concerns me. I sat on a bench outside the operating room, letting my mind go blank for a long time. When I finally managed to stand, I immediately felt a rush of blood flow from below, like a spring gushing forth. I held onto the wall, and with every step I took, it felt like a knife cutting between my legs. Suddenly, I remembered the little mermaid from the fairy tale. When she lost her tail and walked painfully toward the prince, did she feel the same unbearable pain? But in the end, she still couldn't get the love and life she wanted, and tragically turned into sea foam. If the prince knew the truth, he would probably say, "It's not my fault. I'm innocent," just like my William, who held me with red eyes and said, "I love you so much. Why are you making things difficult for me?" It's quite funny, but I won't turn into sea foam like the little mermaid after losing the prince. I want to become something more valuable. Chapter 10. By the time I arrived at the oncology hospital, cold sweat had drenched my entire body. Alexander's eyes reddened when he saw me. "Senior, don't be afraid. We'll do a full examination first. If the cancer hasn't spread, we'll evaluate the option of kidney removal. With timely treatment, the 10-year survival rate for kidney cancer is actually quite high." Alexander and I both graduated from North City University's medical school. He's 2 years younger than me, and now he's a key member of the urological oncology department. As for me, due to an injury 3 years ago, I can no longer hold a scalpel and have permanently said goodbye to the profession I loved. I smiled and shook my head. I only have one kidney. The other kidney was lost because of that injury, so I know my situation isn't very optimistic. Seeing the shock and pity in Alexander's eyes, I waved my hand repeatedly. "Don't look at me like that." I didn't want to go to a familiar doctor because I can't stand that look. Actually, seeking your treatment is secondary. I mainly want to ask you for a favor. Alexander quickly composed himself and nodded seriously. "Tell me, Senior. I want to donate my body to our school for research." With a clink, the cup Alexander was holding to pour me water suddenly fell to the ground. "Senior," he suddenly choked up. In the end, it was me who had to comfort him for a long time. My life has been short, and I haven't achieved much. So let me do something meaningful after I'm gone. And besides, I don't want to be buried in a cemetery, giving William a place to mourn me. Just the thought of him being the father of Hannah's child, and even having more children after my death, disgusts me. I'll be dead, so don't come and disgust me any further. Chapter 11. By the time I got home, it was already evening. I expected to face the same cold, empty house as usual, but to my surprise, William, the busy man, was in the kitchen, wearing an apron, and cooking for me. His gentle smile, just like before, made me long for the days we had. Unfortunately, those days are gone for good. At bedtime, he held me tightly. "I'm taking a week off for the new year. First, we'll spend New Year's Eve at Universal Studios, and then we'll go to a hot spring resort. How does that sound?" I was momentarily stunned. When Universal Studios first opened, I wanted him to take me, but he delayed for 3 months before even remembering. And during those 3 months, I loved him as much as ever, while he was busy making a baby with Hannah. If I hadn't caught them and confronted him, making him feel guilty, I probably would have died before this day came. I smiled. Okay. Seeing that I agreed, he sighed in relief and intertwined his fingers with mine. His voice was unbelievably gentle. Diana, the truth is, these past few months I was avoiding you because I was too scared to face you. I won't do that anymore, okay? Okay. We'll be like before, with no barriers between us. Close and intimate, all right? Okay. Seeing me agree to everything with a smile, he started to panic a little. Diana, you really understand me, and you don't blame me anymore, right? That's right. I pulled my hand free and gently smoothed the frown on his brow. I didn't want our final memories to be filled with endless arguments and broken recollections. Besides, the kinder I am now, the more he'll hurt later. Loving him deeply is the last punishment I'll leave for him. Leaning into William's warm embrace, listening to his steady breathing, I began to feel drowsy, but then my phone suddenly buzzed. It was Hannah. I smirked, not surprised at all. She was the first to lose her cool, just as I expected. Chapter 12. Hannah's family and mine were neighbors. When I was 15, one late night, her house caught fire unexpectedly. My father was the first to hear the cries for help, and without hesitation, he rushed into the flames to save their family of 3. But 2 days later, due to severe burns, my father left me forever. My mother had died in childbirth years earlier, and I had lived with my father for 15 years. Then, because of a fire at Hannah's house, I was left completely orphaned. Hannah's parents swore to take care of me in return for my father's life-saving act. Hannah herself tearfully promised that I would always be her sister. But what happened after that? Later, under the pretense of being my sister, she cozied up to William's mother, saying she wanted to help improve my relationship with my mother-in-law. Then, not only did she get herself a job as William's secretary through his mother, but she also became the mother of his child. Hannah is 8 years younger than me, not as good-looking, loud-mouthed, and clumsy, definitely not the type William would be interested in. So I never worried about her being around William. But looking at it from another perspective, if it wasn't Hannah, it would have been some other woman. When love sours, the root cause is never the third party. I glanced at William, who was sleeping soundly beside me, and quietly got out of bed. In the bathroom, I opened the voice message Hannah had sent on WeChat. It was a recording of a conversation between her and William. Hannah, you know, every day, I feel so exhausted just thinking about going home. I just don't understand. My mom is such a good person, so why can't Diana get along with her? Just because my mom didn't agree to our marriage at first, Diana has held a grudge all these years. Even though my mom treats her like a daughter after we got married, she's always so cold to her. She's just taking advantage of the fact that I love her, making things so difficult for me, putting me in a tough spot between the two of them. William, you've had too much to drink. Diana isn't that kind of person. She's great, but when it comes to my mom, she never considers my feelings. My mom is getting older, and Diana knows I can't bear to be without her, but she still refuses to let my mom move in with us. My mom always comforts me, saying it's fine as long as we have a good marriage, but I've seen her crying behind my back. I feel like I'm such an unfilial son, can't even manage my own wife, and have to make my mom suffer. William, I made you some hangover soup. You should drink some, or you'll get a headache later. Thank you, Hannah. Every time I see you making my mom so happy, I'm really grateful. Being with you always makes me feel so relaxed. If only Diana could be like you. Hannah, I won't let you down. By the time I finished listening to their conversation, my hands and feet were ice cold. So, all these years, I've been touched by the protection he's given me. But to him, it's been the torment of a bad wife mistreating a good mother-in-law. And his agreement to have a child with Hannah wasn't just because of his mother's suicide threat, was it? Harmony between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, and a house full of descendants, that's probably what he really wanted. I closed my eyes. The pain of betrayal and deception, like a bloodthirsty demon, tore at my entire body. I bit my lip hard, the thought of revenge, trembling yet resolute. Chapter 13. The next morning, I made breakfast for him as usual. Before leaving, he kissed me for a long time, reluctant to part. After he left, I wiped my lips. I almost felt like throwing up. In the afternoon, I went to the mall, bought some baby clothes and toys, and headed to my mother-in-law's house. It was just a few hundred meters from my own home, another villa in the same neighborhood. Was it really worth William drowning his sorrows in alcohol just because he couldn't live with her? Was it worth her crying and feeling so aggrieved? When I entered the house, just as I expected, Hannah was there too. Their bright smiles faded when they saw me. Eva wore a look of disdain. Hannah clung to Eva's arm, looking weak and vulnerable, trembling as she spoke. Diana, it was you who got Mr. Young to fire me. So Auntie Wu took me in. She's been feeling lonely living alone. So I'm just keeping her company for a few days. Please don't be angry. I sat down across from them with a smile. You've worked hard, getting pregnant and having a child for William. I'm grateful. So why would I be angry? Firing you was just for show. After all, you're quite far along now. If people start gossiping, it wouldn't be good for you as an unmarried woman. I listened to the recording you sent me last night and spent the whole night reflecting on myself. Don't worry about a thing. I'll make sure William spends more time with you. When the baby is born, we can all live together. One big happy family. Hannah was stunned. The purpose of sending me the recording was certainly not to see me being so magnanimous. Eva, however, studied me for a moment and then called me into her room. Diana, don't bother pretending in front of me. I don't want to live with you. Hannah is already pregnant with my grandchild. So when exactly are you going to divorce William? When facing me alone, she never bothers to put on an act. I quietly tightened my grip on the recorder in my pocket. Chapter 14. Mom, I've been married to William for so many years. You say in front of him that you treat me like your own daughter, but behind his back, you either curse me with the most horrible words or force me to leave him. I never told William because I didn't want him to feel bad. But no matter how much I endure, can't I at least get a bit of kindness from you? Stop with the nonsense. If you divorce my son, I'll have no reason to make things difficult for you. But William can't live without me. Even though Hannah is pregnant, he doesn't want to divorce me. He says he'll love only me for the rest of his life. Can you really bear to see William marry someone he doesn't love? I had long seen through it. Eva doesn't hate me specifically. She only hates the person William loves. She likes Hannah only because she knows William doesn't love her at all. Sure enough, Eva's chest began to heave as she erupted in anger. What kind of spell have you cast on William, the son I raised with my own hands? And you've stolen him from me. Diana, you're shamelessly clinging to William and refusing to divorce him. I stoked the fire with a tearful voice. Mom, please calm down. I know the reason you refuse to move in with us is that you don't want to see William treat me well. So, I'll let William move in with you. Hannah and the child can live with you too. The four of you as a family, okay? He can just visit me occasionally, but as long as he doesn't bring up divorce, I certainly won't. William and I have loved each other for so many years, and we really can't be apart. Please try to understand us. Eva, like a lit fuse, exploded immediately. She hurled all sorts of harsh words at me, her true colors far removed from the gentle and understanding retired teacher she appeared to be in public. I lowered my head, pretending to be sad and silent. But inwardly, I was coldly smiling, thinking how surprised William would be to see this side of his so-called kind and patient mother. When she finally exhausted herself from shouting, catching her breath, I spoke in a hoarse voice. I'm sorry, Mom, for making you upset again. If it weren't for wanting to bring a gift for the child, I wouldn't have dared to bother you today. Please take care of your health. I'll be leaving now. I closed the door behind me, shutting out her curses, and quickly walked out. Passing through the living room, I gave Hannah a cold look. Do you remember who saved your life? Do you never have nightmares in the middle of the night? Hannah was momentarily stunned, then glanced at the gifts I had brought. Thinking she had completely defeated me, She dropped her act of weakness, stepped closer to me, and spoke in a low voice. You can't have children yourself, and now you're jealous that I'm carrying William's child. So you're trying to guilt-trip me? How ridiculous. Back then, your father saved us because he wanted to. We didn't beg him to do it. We survived and he didn't. That's just bad luck for him, and it has nothing to do with us. Besides, we've honored him by burning paper for him every holiday without fail, which is more than enough. So stop. Smack. I slapped her hard, cutting off her words. She covered her face, glaring at me in anger. Diana, how dare you hit me? I slapped her again. Hannah, you just wait for your karma. I ignored the sobs and curses behind me, walking away without looking back. Suddenly, I realized that tying William's fate to someone as heartless as Hannah might be the greatest punishment and revenge I could ever give him. Chapter 15. I only made dinner for myself. William had promised when he left that he would come home early to spend the evening with me, but I knew he wouldn't. I curled up on the sofa, waiting for him. The melodramatic plot of the web drama, where a domineering male lead chases after his estranged wife, was both boring and amusing, but the increasingly severe back and abdominal pain tormented me, making it unbearable to sit or lie down comfortably. These pains had been with me for over a year, not without signs. But since I had lost a kidney, I had been experiencing various chronic pains over the past 3 years. As a medical professional, I thought I knew better and didn't make a big deal out of it. Plus, I was determined to have a child with William, so I took all sorts of medications to adjust my body, putting more strain on my remaining kidney. In the end, I was careless. Looking at the detailed treatment plans Alexander had sent me in my email, I couldn't help but be moved by his thoroughness. A friend who values my life so much, I have no reason to give up on myself. I steeled myself and made a solemn decision for the first time. I will fight to survive. William came in close to midnight. He looked at me, hesitant to speak. I pretended not to notice, thoughtfully getting up to prepare him a late-night snack. He grabbed my arm, his voice full of exasperation. Why did you go and hit Hannah? Can't you stop taking it out on her? She's innocent too. You know, she's so young and now she's having a child. But who knows what her future holds? He sighed, trailing off. Ha, look at that. He had said he wouldn't see her after the child was born, and now he's already starting to feel sorry for her. Seeing me lower my head without saying anything, he pulled me into a hug, his irritation barely concealed. Diana, I only love you. I will never divorce you over the child, so you can rest easy. But can you please stop provoking Hannah and my mom? You went to them this afternoon, and now one has a stomachache, and the other's heart is acting up. I'm just so exhausted. Diana, so, whatever they say, he believes them. The love he gives me is becoming cheaper by the day. I really want to know how much it will hurt him when he finds out what really happened this afternoon. I didn't answer him. Instead, I smiled bitterly. William, do you remember the 2 children we lost? Chapter 16. In the early days of our marriage, when he was struggling to start his business, I was busy with my hospital work during the day and helped him organize various documents at night. Getting 3 or 4 hours of sleep was a luxury. Our first child left me during that time. The second child was lost 3 years ago. William and I had just finished dinner and were standing by the roadside, waiting for our driver. A moped, swerving to avoid a car, lost control and headed straight for William. He had his back to the road, talking on the phone. Without hesitation, I pushed him out of the way, but the moped hit me instead, running over my body and crushing my right wrist. I not only lost the tendons in my right hand and a kidney but also our child. All the deep love and devotion from the past. Looking back now, it's nothing but excruciating pain. I smiled through my tears. I just missed our 2 children, so I bought some baby gifts and sent them over. I didn't expect there would be any conflict, but it won't happen again. William was silent for a long time, finally showing a hint of guilt. He buried his head in the crook of my shoulder, his voice hoarse as he said, Diana, I'll make it up to you. But unfortunately, Diana, have always been able to love and let go. I've never needed compensation, but he doesn't understand that anymore. Chapter 17. The next day was Christmas Eve. William gave me a necklace, a Cartier Gradient natural pearl necklace worth over $1 million. He put it on me himself, saying that pearls suit my temperament. As pure as the moon. I did like it. That is. Until I saw Hannah's post on her social media. The happiest thing is when the person you like also likes you. The photo showed a Chow Tai Fook bracelet worth tens of thousands, with the corner of William's cufflink visible in the picture. I suspected she had made it so only I could see the post, but I couldn't resist liking it. Then I took a screenshot and posted it along with my pearl necklace in my private social media circle. Again visible only to myself. Blessings of the wife and the concubine, the difference lies in the price. I should be happy, right? I imagined how William would feel if he saw this and couldn't help but laugh through my tears. Chapter 18. Over the next few days, Alexander and I finalized my treatment plan and hospital admission schedule. I carefully wrote my will and filled a drawer with notes for William. He claimed he needed to catch up on work before the upcoming holiday, so he started coming home late again, but it didn't matter whether it was true or not. It suited me just fine. In the blink of an eye, it was New Year's Eve. He booked the most expensive restaurant, bought a bouquet of bright red roses, and ordered a table full of my favorite dishes. Through the romantic candlelight, I looked at him, at his loving and tender gaze, and it felt like I was back in the years when he loved me the most. After dinner, we held hands and walked among the throngs of young couples in love at Universal Studios. On a whim, he bought a pair of cute bunny ear headbands and put one on me. He cupped my face, looking at me from every angle, then smiled and kissed my eyes, saying I was his heart's moon. Even though my back was in so much pain that I could barely stand, I forced myself to keep up with his pace, stiffly holding my body upright, because, in that moment, I was genuinely happy. I thought, if I could ride the wild roller coaster I've always been afraid of, watch the romantic fireworks I've longed to see, and end this dead love with screams and laughter, then I would have no regrets. But the smile on my face gradually faded when William answered that phone call. Hannah was sobbing uncontrollably. William, where are you? Please come back. Auntie Wu's chest hurts. She can't even speak anymore. I'm so scared. William, please hurry back. I can't take care of Auntie Wu by myself. If anything happens to her, I won't go on living either. William's face turned pale. Diana, quick. My mom might be having a heart attack. We need to go back. He grabbed my hand and started running. The sudden jerk sent a sharp pain through my already strained back, as if a knife had been driven into it. I fell hard to the ground. He looked back at me, seeing me lying there, unable to get up. He shouted at me, "Get up! Didn't you hear? My mom is in trouble." His sudden yell made my heart tighten, and he was convinced I was deliberately delaying. Diana, even if you have issues with my mom, you shouldn't be so cold-blooded, right? Besides, you almost made Hannah miscarry the other day, and I didn't even have the heart to tell you. Now both she and my mom are in trouble. What's happened to you? The disgust in his eyes was clear as day. My heart felt like it was being slowly strangled, torn in half. I gasped for breath, struggling to breathe. He furrowed his brow, seeming to notice something was wrong, and reached out to pull me up. But his phone rang urgently again. He let go of my hand without hesitation, answered the call, and rushed off. The excruciating pain in my back couldn't support my body anymore, and I fell hard to the ground once again. I think I heard the sound of the back of my head hitting the pavement. People around started to gather, but I could no longer see their faces. Call 911. She's losing a lot of blood. It looks like she's not breathing. Does anyone know CPR? Hurry. Save her. The chaotic sounds became faint, then disappeared. It was all over. William, loving you hurts so much. Forever and ever. Let's never meet again. Chapter 19. So, death is this painful. Painful enough to make all my internal organs convulse. I must have looked twisted and terrifying. I'm sorry, kind strangers. I'm really sorry if I scared you. So sorry. Senior. Senior, a soft voice whispered by my ear, distant and unclear. I frowned. Senior, wake up. It's me, Alexander. You haven't wronged anyone, so stop apologizing. Don't be afraid. Senior, we're okay now. Don't cry anymore. The voice gradually became clearer, and it took me a long time to process it. Am I still alive? I slowly opened my eyes and saw Alexander's face, filled with worry. Memories slowly came back to me. I remembered. In the midst of losing consciousness, I had struggled to dial Alexander, my emergency contact. I knew William would leave me behind, and if I did die on the street, I only needed Alexander to take my body back to the medical school. Seeing Alexander's tired and haggard appearance now, I felt deeply guilty. We hadn't kept in touch much after graduation. Aside from a few times I'd helped him with experiments back in school, he happened to specialize in urological oncology and occasionally lectured at the medical school, which is why I reached out to him about donating my body. I'm sorry, Alexander. I've caused you so much trouble. Alexander sighed and shook his head. You've been saying sorry nonstop ever since the anesthesia wore off. Where did you get so many apologies? Anesthesia? I was confused. I had surgery? I saw a flash of reluctance in Alexander's eyes. You had a frontal lobe hemorrhage from the fall, and they had to do intracranial drainage. If the impact had been just a little harder, you wouldn't have survived. I was stunned. Slowly, I reached up to feel my head. My long hair was completely gone, even though I had mentally prepared myself for losing my hair due to future chemotherapy. Having it all shaved off now because of the surgery was overwhelming. Imagining how ugly I must look, a wave of helplessness and sorrow nearly suffocated me. My expression must have been awful because Alexander gently tried to comfort me. Senior, don't be like this. Once the drainage tube is removed, you can wear a wig. I snapped out of it and forced a smile, nodding in agreement. In my gloom, Alexander handed me my phone. Senior, Young has called you many times. I've been so busy I only just noticed. His voice was cautious. Should I ask him to come and take care of you? Chapter 20. I had already asked Alexander not to tell any of our former teachers or classmates about my illness unless it was absolutely necessary. I specifically instructed him not to inform William. At first, I had planned to tell him immediately. We had promised each other never to hide anything, good or bad. I depended on him so much, needed his courage and support to fight this battle together. But in the end, I realized that the only person I could truly depend on was myself. Alexander wasn't one to ask many questions, and he had agreed seriously at the time without pressing for more details. Now, he probably felt sorry for me, a cancer patient who had also suffered a head injury. Could you help me hire a careful nurse from your hospital? One-on-one. Long-term care. I want to transfer to your hospital for treatment as soon as possible. Alexander finally couldn't hold back. Senior, what's really going on between you and Young? I forced a smile. He's too busy. I don't want to bother him right now, but I'll need your help to hand over some things to him later. He looked at me, silent for a moment, then nodded. After Alexander left, I opened my phone. Only then did I realize I had been unconscious for a day and a half. It was already the second day of the new year. I checked my call logs and saw that William's first call to me had been in the early hours of New Year's Day. I guess that's when his mom and Hannah were no longer in danger. And he finally remembered my humiliating fall on New Year's Eve. Or maybe, as my more cynical side guessed, his mom wasn't in any real trouble at all. She just couldn't stand him spending New Year's with me. He wouldn't even consider that the person who almost died wasn't his mom, it was me. On WeChat, he kept sending the same questions over and over. Where did you go? Please stop being mad. Why haven't you come home yet? Home? The new year has begun, and I no longer have a home. Besides, in the future of your family, full of children and grandchildren, you never intended to make room for me. I quietly wiped away my tears and blocked him from my contacts and on WeChat. Chapter 21. After being transferred to the oncology hospital, Alexander arranged for me to have a private room. However, due to the head injury I sustained from the fall, my condition wasn't good. Even after removing the drainage tube, I had a persistent low-grade fever, and my blood counts were very low. In such a state, I couldn't undergo the tumor treatment we had originally planned, so it had to be postponed. The pain in my back also grew worse. It became so intense that it felt like the pain was seeping into my bones. I've always been someone who could endure pain, like the time I withstood the excruciating pain of a stomach spasm for 2 hours without medication, but now, I couldn't go a day without painkillers. After I fainted again from dizziness and was resuscitated, I looked at my reflection in the mirror, seeing how gaunt and unrecognizable I had become, and it occurred to me that I might not have much time left. Yet, I had tried so hard to encourage myself to keep wanting to live, even if it's just one more year, just to see the seasons change once more. That would be enough. Diana, do you have any family in North City? If you ever need to talk, you can talk to me, okay? Don't keep everything bottled up inside. It's not good for your health. My nurse, Auntie Lou, was a very attentive woman. I liked her a lot. Sometimes, watching her busy herself taking care of me, I couldn't help but wonder, if my mother were still here, would she be this gentle and caring with me too? No, it's a good thing my parents are gone. If they had to endure the sorrow of burying their own child, how could I bear it? I know all too well that those left behind suffer more than those who pass away. I smiled reassuringly at Auntie Lou. My parents have passed away, so I'm alone now. Don't worry about me. I don't have any worries. I'm just not much of a talker. Auntie Lou paused for a moment, then sighed. Oh, you poor child. I didn't know. I'm sorry. It's okay. I smiled. She quickly changed the subject. I heard Dr. Chin call you senior. Are you a doctor too? Yes, I used to be. My father's burned body before he passed away is a pain I can never forget. That's why I chose to specialize in burn surgery, and I was considered promising in my department. But, unfortunately, I can no longer perform surgery. Diana, how old are you? You don't have a partner yet, do you? You look younger than my daughter-in-law. She's 26 and about to have a baby. Since getting sick, this was the first time I laughed so heartily. I'm already 35, and now I look like this. Auntie Lou, you really know how to flatter people. Auntie Lou looked at me in surprise. I'm not flattering you. The first day I saw you, I thought, how heartbreaking it must be for your parents to see such a young girl with such a serious illness. I kept smiling but turned my head away to discreetly wipe my eyes. If I were your daughter, or your daughter-in-law, I'd be very happy. Oh, don't say that. If you were married, your mother-in-law would spoil you. Such a beautiful, kind-hearted girl. So polite and considerate. Always speaking so gently, it's a blessing for any family to have you. Would they think it was a blessing? I felt a pang of sadness that day, when William yelled at me for his mother, his eyes full of disdain. They were exactly like the look Eva used to give me, as if a sharp knife had been driven into my heart. In the end, the bond between mother and son is unbreakable. From that moment, my heart was completely shattered, and it still is. But now, it doesn't hurt as much. I smiled, not wanting to continue the conversation about marriage. I adjusted the long wig I wore, applied some lipstick, and made myself look a little more presentable. Auntie Lou, let's go outside for some fresh air. Sure, let's chat more. I'm happy to see you have a bit of energy. Would you help me walk a few steps? I don't want to sit in a wheelchair. It makes me feel useless. No way. Last time I helped you out for a walk, you fainted, and Dr. Chin was furious with me. It scared me half to death. You'll have to listen to me and either lie down or behave if you want to go outside. I smiled helplessly. All right, I'll behave. Just then, Alexander called. Senior, I have some good news for you. I winked at Auntie Lou and asked with a smile, did you find a cure for kidney cancer? Alexander has always been very serious, a no-nonsense kind of person, hardly ever one to joke around. But today, he actually chuckled. Not quite. But after a consultation with my mentor and some neurology experts, we've developed a new treatment plan for you. I'm really confident about it. Anyway, I'll come to your room later and explain everything in detail. He seemed really happy, and he hurriedly hung up. Auntie Lou was even more excited than I was. That's wonderful. Diana, I told you, good things happen to good people. Once you get better, I'll make all kinds of delicious food for you, and I'll make sure to fatten you up. The warm sunlight outside the window bathed me, It lit up my heart as well. I've never wanted to live as much as I do now. Chapter 22. The weather was exceptionally nice that day. Or maybe it was just that I felt hopeful about my condition, which lifted my spirits and made the pain seem more bearable, because my body was too weak to endure the cold wind outside. Auntie Lou had to push me around the building instead. She made sure to walk through the sunny spots by the windows, constantly reminding me to soak up the sun to strengthen my body. I was almost dizzy from all the sun, but my heart felt warm. The feeling of being cared for by an elder, it's such a wonderful thing. Alexander called again, saying he had arrived at my room, so we started to head back. As we passed by a medical office, the sound of a heated argument unexpectedly echoed out. I never liked getting involved in such things and was about to tell Auntie Lou to hurry along when I suddenly heard a man's furious shout. Our old man just had a minor surgery for a knee injury. How did you manage to kill him? This is clearly a medical malpractice, and you refuse to admit it. You just don't want to pay up, do you? Fine. Then pay with your lives. None of you are leaving here alive today. You're all going to atone for our old man's death. Suddenly, there was the loud sound of heavy objects being smashed and chaotic screams for help. Both Auntie Lou and I were startled. Calling the police would take too long. Auntie Lou, go get security. Quickly! Okay, I'll go right away. As soon as Auntie Lou disappeared around the corner, the door to the medical office burst open, and two nurses were supporting an older female doctor as they stumbled out. The doctor was clutching her shoulder tightly, the bright red blood staining her white coat. Worse still, a younger man was grabbing onto them, while another middle-aged man, wielding a bloodied knife, was crazily stabbing at them. Suddenly, I remembered my mentor. He had been retired and should have been enjoying his golden years, but he was rehired by the hospital due to a shortage of staff. Then, after a surgery, he was attacked by an irrational patient's family and passed away a few years later, deeply depressed. And now, a similar scene was unfolding before my eyes. The older doctor had already been pulled to the ground, and the man was raising his knife to stab her. I desperately turned my wheelchair and rammed it into the man from the side. The impact was strong enough to knock him over. People arriving from behind, along with the security guards rushing in from the other direction, quickly subdued the two men. I let out a long sigh of relief, but then I heard Auntie Lou's heart-wrenching, despairing cry, "Diana! Diana! Wake up! Don't scare me, my dear child, please!" When I knocked the man down, I was thrown out of my wheelchair and slammed hard into the wall. It felt like my neck was broken. I couldn't lift my head. It hurt so much. Blood was pouring from my head, forming a river that slowly blurred my vision. I wanted to comfort Auntie Lou, to tell her not to worry, that I'm strong and will be fine, but I didn't even have the strength to open my mouth. The world went dark. Tick-tock, tick-tock. The constant beeping of machines pulled me back from the edge of unconsciousness. "Senior, please hold on. Let's keep fighting, okay? We already have a treatment plan. Senior, I beg you, hold on. You can get better. Senior, is that Alexander? He sounds like he's crying. He's always been so composed. So maybe I'm not so lucky this time." I mustered all my strength to open my eyes, but I couldn't even see his face clearly. I wanted to smile at him, but it seems I couldn't do that either. It's a good thing I prepared everything in advance, knowing I would be leaving. If I get to see my dad, I can proudly tell him that his Diana did something meaningful with her life and didn't bring shame to him. And to my dear friend, Alexander, who accompanied me on this final journey. I've always been afraid of being a burden to others, and I've always felt so sorry for troubling him. He's been so busy, so tired. At least now, I won't be bothering him anymore. My body suddenly feels light, my thoughts drifting, and my eyelids feel as heavy as if 1,000 pounds were pressing down on them. Impossible to lift. I'm a little tired, but it feels like I'm about to float away. Will floating away feel light and happy? I slowly closed my eyes. Suddenly, a heart-wrenching cry came from outside. "Let me in! Let me in! My wife is in there! Diana is my wife! Please, let me in! This is the ICU. You can't barge in. If you continue, we'll have to restrain you." Let go of me. All of you. Let go of me. Get out of my way. Let me in. Now. My eyelids twitched. Alexander's choked voice rang out hoarsely. Senior. Yang is here. Do you want to see him? Him. Forget it. Just forget it. I used all my remaining strength to gently shake my head. A beautiful field of flowers suddenly appeared before my eyes. In the field, a boy rode a bicycle, carrying a girl in a flowing white dress. Diana, marry me. Let me protect you in place of Uncle Lou. To be with you for a lifetime. To never let anyone hurt you. What if you hurt me? I, William, swear to the heavens that I will love Diana for the rest of my life. If I ever betray her, may I die a miserable death. The beautiful flower field withered in an instant. The girl smiled and jumped off the bike, waving gently at the boy. Thank you for walking with me through such a long, lonely road. But now, just send me off here. We will never meet again. Chapter 23 William's Perspective. After that unpleasant New Year's Eve, Diana started giving me the silent treatment, disappearing without a trace. Looking back, I realized I was too anxious that night and treated her poorly. I regret it deeply, but she didn't even give me a chance to apologize. She wouldn't answer my calls, wouldn't respond to my messages, and the next day, she even blocked me. Even when I called from unknown numbers, she refused to answer, completely ignoring me. It was driving me crazy. As I thought about it, I realized I didn't have contact information for any of the friends she had stayed close with over the years. But we've been together for 20 years. We had a pact that no matter what disagreements we had, we would never go to bed angry, and we would always talk things out immediately to avoid any rifts in our relationship. Had she forgotten? When did she become so unreasonable? She doesn't realize how much work I pushed through, day and night, just to carve out this week of vacation to spend with her and make her happy. People at the office would joke about how, even after being together for so long, my relationship with Diana was like a couple still in the honeymoon phase, with me speaking to her gently every day and finding new ways to pamper her. Sometimes, after a few drinks, business partners would test the waters by trying to introduce pretty young girls to me, but I always firmly refused and never once made a mistake. Because in my heart, there's only Diana, and I've never forgotten my promise never to betray her. Besides, I know Diana's temper too well. If I were ever to be with another woman, even just for fun, Diana would never forgive me. Outsiders can see that I cherish her and hold her dear to my heart. So why is she becoming more and more dissatisfied? As she gets older, she seems to be getting less reasonable, and I have to admit, it's exhausting. Since she was avoiding me, there was no point in continuing my vacation. Besides, the company was in the middle of a major international project that had to be completed before the Lunar New Year. So I went back to work. I knew Diana loved me too much to ignore me forever. Especially with the new year approaching. She had no other family. So where could she go? After sulking for a few more days, she'd surely contact me. When she did, I planned to have a serious talk with her. No more disappearing acts. Our relationship can't handle this kind of strain. During the days she was gone, I kept going home after work, hoping to see the lights on like they used to be, warm and welcoming, but every day ended in disappointment. I had no choice but to stay at my mom's place. After a long day at work, at least I could have a hot meal. Thankfully, my mom was fine after that scare on New Year's Eve. When I rushed to the hospital, I questioned the doctors carefully. They said she was okay. Probably just some discomfort due to her age and emotional stress. They advised me to pay more attention to her mood and spend more time with her. Even if I was busy with work, I felt guilty. I was only 3 years old when my dad passed away. My mom was still so young. She could have remarried, but she chose the hardest path, raising me on her own. She worked tirelessly to bring me up, and just when it was time for me to repay her, I gave all my heart to Diana. Even when my mom tried to use suicide to force me into breaking up with Diana, I stubbornly refused, insisting that I would only marry Diana. I deeply hurt my mom. So, later, I did everything I could to make up for it, to show her the gratitude she deserved, and to seek her forgiveness for breaking her heart when I was young. But I realize now that my efforts were never enough. Diana couldn't get along with my mom and didn't want to live with her. And I couldn't bear to see Diana unhappy. So I tried to balance both. But Diana couldn't have children. And every day my mom would cry in front of my dad's picture, saying that the young family would end with me and that she had failed my dad. It wasn't until my mom left a suicide note and took sleeping pills that I finally realized how deeply her pain ran. The memory of her past suicide attempt came rushing back, filling me with fear. If I stood by again and let my mom hurt herself while I did nothing, would I still be human? Divorce was out of the question. I could never leave Diana, the woman I love most, just for the sake of having children. So, I compromised. My only condition was that I would never touch Hannah. My mom wasn't happy about it. She insisted that a child conceived through artificial insemination wouldn't be as smart as one conceived naturally. But seeing how resolute I was, she reluctantly agreed. After Hannah got pregnant, I was a bit afraid to see Diana. I was scared she would break up with me, but I kept reassuring myself that it was okay. I hadn't betrayed her. The child would be for my mom, and I would compensate Hannah with a large sum of money. She wasn't the type to cause trouble, and things would eventually settle down. Fortunately, Diana understood as I had hoped. Though she was sad, she quickly came around and didn't make things difficult for me. Life finally returned to the way I envisioned it, stable and moving forward. And ever since my mom brought Hannah to live with her, they've been getting along so well, always laughing and talking. Seeing my mom so happy filled me with mixed emotions. Many times, watching them together, I couldn't help but think how perfect life would be if Diana could also get along with my mom. As for Hannah, she's nothing like the kind of woman I'm attracted to. There's no chance of any romantic feelings between us. At most, after the child is born, there will be a familial bond between us. And that's it. When she gets married, I'll prepare the most generous dowry for her, just like I would for a sister. After all, I did talk to her about this. I told her that if my mom ever pressured her to do something she didn't want to do, she could refuse, and I would intervene. I wouldn't force her to have a child for me. But she said she saw Diana as her big sister and was willing to have a child for us, so Diana wouldn't be lonely when she got older. I know how much Diana loves children. When we lost our 2 children, she cried in her sleep every night. She's always been good to Hannah, and Hannah was the person my father saved with his life. Diana once told me that seeing Hannah reminded her of her dad, that as long as Hannah was alive and well, it felt like her father's spirit was still with her. So I thought, if I had to have a child, it would be easier for Diana to accept if it were Hannah rather than someone else. I kept busy with work while waiting for news from Diana. Then, on the 7th of January, around noon, I was reviewing the terms of a contract I was supposed to sign that afternoon when a few employees burst into my office, frantically waving their phones at me. Mr. Young, you need to see this trending news. The injured person who saved someone, it looks so much like your wife. Injured? The word injured made my mind go blank for a moment. I quickly grabbed their phones. At around 10 a.m. today, a violent assault on a doctor occurred at the North City University-affiliated oncology hospital. The family of the deceased patient, overwhelmed with grief, attacked the attending physician with a knife. 3 brave patients stepped in to help, with 1 seriously injured and 2 others suffering minor injuries. All are currently receiving treatment alongside the injured doctor. The video was uploaded online by bystanders at the scene. My hands were trembling as I desperately tried to zoom in on the screen. The girl lying in the corner, covered in blood, she really looked like my Diana. And I clearly heard the auntie holding that girl, crying out in agony, "Diana, Diana." At that moment, everything went black before my eyes, and the world seemed to crumble. I grabbed my car keys and sped to the oncology hospital like a madman. The injured person was really Diana. How could she have become a patient at the oncology hospital? How could she be so badly injured that she was in the ICU for so long, unable to come out? No matter how much I pleaded with the medical staff to let me in, they refused, saying I could only see her after the emergency treatment was over. Even though my heart was breaking and I was on the verge of collapse, I had no choice but to wait outside the ICU, desperately hoping. Suddenly, I saw a familiar figure. It looked like one of Diana's junior colleagues from the medical school. I quickly grabbed him, begging him to let me in. To let me see Diana. She has relied on me for 20 years. She must be in so much pain. So afraid. She must be wanting to see me more than anyone else. But he just shook his head. He said Diana didn't want to see me. How is that possible? My Diana. How could she not want to see me? He must be lying to me. Furious, I punched him in the face and tried to rush into the ICU. Several security guards arrived and dragged me away, handing me over to the police who had been called to the hospital. I didn't care about anything anymore. I didn't care about my reputation. I cried and begged the police to let me go, telling them my wife was in the ICU, fighting for her life. I pleaded with them to understand my situation. I was almost on my knees. The officers seemed to soften, but that damned junior colleague I had punched coldly accused me of assaulting a doctor and disrupting the hospital, insisting the police take me away. In the police car, I continued to beg and cry, signing numerous documents and repeatedly promising I wouldn't cause any more trouble. They finally relented and allowed 2 officers to escort me back to the hospital. But when I got back, the ICU nurse told me that Diana had been moved out of the critical care unit. My legs gave way, and I let out a long sigh of relief. I shakily asked her, "Is my wife out of danger?" She glanced at me and coldly replied, "Wait for further notice." But no one would tell me anything else, and I had no idea where to wait for this notice. I didn't even remember the name of that junior colleague, so I went to every information desk, every department, trying to find out more, and that's when I was stunned to learn that Diana had kidney cancer. I found the room where Diana had been staying, but it was empty. It was as if the events I had witnessed outside the ICU, the resuscitation efforts, were all just a dream. Completely unreal. That damned junior colleague was nowhere to be found either. I spent the next 3 days and nights in the hospital corridor, waiting like an anxious ant on a hot stove, until one night, that junior colleague finally appeared in front of me again. He handed me a sealed bag, saying that Diana had asked him to give it to me. The bag was almost empty, containing only Diana's phone, a voice recorder, and a divorce agreement. He turned to leave, but I grabbed his arm, demanding to know where Diana was. I told him I was Diana's husband and had the right to know where my wife was. He turned back to look at me, silently staring, and then, suddenly, he swung his fist and punched me hard. I hadn't eaten or slept properly for days, and I didn't have the strength to fight back. I was quickly knocked to the ground, dizzy and unable to get up. When I opened my eyes again, he was gone, leaving behind only the words, "I'll take care of Diana. Don't come back to disturb her." What the hell? Who the hell are you? What gives you the right? Diana is my wife. We're just going through a rough patch. As long as I don't agree to the divorce, she'll always be my wife. But as long as Diana is out of danger, that's all that matters. I'll spend whatever it takes to find the best kidney cancer specialists in the country and abroad. I'll make sure Diana knows who can take care of her. Knowing that Diana was still alive, I immediately felt a surge of determination. I couldn't wait to open that voice recorder, thinking it would contain messages from Diana for me. But after I listened to it, my world came crashing down. That vicious, foul-mouthed woman, was that my mother? That ungrateful, shameless person, was that Hannah? In a daze, I returned to the house that I hadn't entered in a long time, the home that Diana and I shared. The faint fragrance lingering in the air made it feel as if she would appear from the kitchen any moment. Smiling at me, I walked into her study and found the drawer full of neatly written notes from her. Drink a glass of water first thing after waking up. Always have breakfast, no matter how busy you are. Don't stay up late. Never drink alcohol after taking antibiotics. Don't drive aggressively. Don't be harsh with your employees. Work on your temper. Annual health checkups. Don't miss these specific tests. Every line was filled with her gentle reminders. I broke down in tears, sobbing uncontrollably. Underneath the pearl necklace I had given her, there was a small note. May William and Hannah have many children and live a long, happy life. In a rage, I tore that note to shreds. Who the hell wants to spend their life with Hannah? Diana, why are you being so stubborn? It's just that I had her have a child for my mom. I never even touched her. You're the only one I've ever loved. From beginning to end. Only you. I tore at my collar, gasping for breath, and turned on her phone. December 22nd. No more moonlight for William. I stared at her pale face and the abortion notice she had posted, feeling like I had been struck by lightning. Diana was really pregnant? But what did I say to her that day? I said she'd taken so many medications that the child wouldn't be healthy, but that was only because I thought she was lying to me out of anger, pretending to be pregnant. After all these years of not being able to conceive, my heart felt like it was being torn apart. I slapped myself hard across the face. Twice. December 23rd. Changing one's own heart easily, but then turning around to say that it is the other person's heart that changes easily. The accompanying image was a screenshot of the voice message Hannah had sent her. She had converted the voice messages into text and taken screenshots of them. Those words pierced through me like a dagger. That must have been after one of those times when I was drunk, feeling frustrated as I watched my mom cry over my dad again, and I ended up venting to Hannah as she tried to comfort me. But those weren't my true feelings. Diana, I've always only loved you. My heart has never changed. December 24th. The fortune of having both a wife and a concubine, the difference lies in status. Should I be happy about being the legitimate wife? A chill ran down my spine. That bracelet was something my mom picked out and forced me to pay for as a gift for Hannah. It wasn't something I wanted to give her at all. I never wanted. Diana, you've misunderstood me so deeply. December 25th. The city lights are bright, but none of them are waiting for me. That's not true. Diana, once you get better, I promise to come home early every day to be with you, okay? Please, stop being mad at me. Diana. December 26th. I don't want to look ugly. I'm going to buy 7 wigs and change to a beautiful hairstyle every day. The attached image was her order for wigs, but the delivery address was Alexander's office. So, does she not want me anymore? A sharp pain twisted in my heart. December 27th. I slowly listened to the sound of snow falling, imagining with closed eyes that it will never stop. You can't get close. Not because you're too cold-hearted, but because you're captivated by the beautiful scenery outside the window. I slowly savor the sound of snow falling, as if you're whispering sweet nothings in my ear. But when I open my eyes, the snow is merciless. Who will repay this lifetime of beautiful moments? Diana's gentle voice seemed to softly sing in my ear. My tears didn't stop for a moment. December 28th. I want to become a fuller, brighter, eternal moon. The image attached was a signed and censored document with her name on it. I looked closely and vaguely saw the seal of their medical school. Did she sign some kind of treatment agreement with the medical school? Was it for her illness? I couldn't understand it. Frowning deeply, I needed to ask Alexander what kind of agreement they had signed with Diana. December 29th. Let's part amicably and find our own happiness. The image attached was of our marriage certificate, her removed engagement ring, and the divorce agreement she had signed. My hands trembled. During those days, she had said she forgave me, that she wanted us to go back to being as close as we used to be, but she still planned to leave me. In the end, it was all about the child, and it had to come to this. Diana, can I regret it now? I'll go ask Hannah to abort the child right away. Please, can you forgive me? December 30th. Dad, I miss you so much. If I can't come here anymore, remember this person named Alexander. He's my good friend, and he'll come to visit you for me. The image showed her back as she stood before her father's grave. My heart ached, and I was furious. Who is Alexander to do that? What gives him the right? Diana, you can't retaliate against me like this. You can't. For some reason, there were no more entries after that. I clutched her phone tightly to my chest. The pain of not being able to see her, as if pierced by 1,000 arrows, made it hard to even breathe. I forced myself to focus, staying in the office, devoting all my energy to researching kidney cancer treatments and finding experts at home and abroad. I have to be the one to take better care of Diana than that Alexander. I haven't gone to my mom's house at all, no matter how many times she called. I can't accept the way she insulted Diana. But the urgent matter is to treat Diana's illness. Everything else can wait until Diana's situation is taken care of. Then I'll deal with Hannah's child. A week later. armed with treatment plans from some of the world's top experts. I eagerly sought out Alexander. Where exactly is Diana? Look at these plans. Might any of them be more effective? I don't want to argue with you. I just want to cure Diana as soon as possible. Alexander glanced indifferently at the thick stack of documents, seemingly uninterested. After the emergency surgery for her head injury, her body was severely compromised, and her remaining kidney couldn't handle the strain of high-intensity treatment. These cancer treatment plans are just theoretical. They won't work in reality. He stared at me, then added, "It wasn't the injury from when she was hurt saving someone, but from the night you left her on the street." I froze. That night, didn't she just have a fall? How could it be so serious? He looked at me with disdain. Do you really want to see her? I loosened my collar, my voice rough. Take me to her. We're husband and wife. Our issues should be resolved between us. He stared at me for a long moment. Follow me. I didn't expect him to take me to a hospital room. Instead, he brought me back to their medical school. After several turns, we stopped in front of a cold, eerie laboratory. My voice trembled. What do you mean? He didn't answer, just opened the door. Inside were shelves filled with preserved human organs in formaldehyde. My heart tightened painfully. My throat constricted as if someone were choking me, and I could hardly breathe. Alexander stood in front of one of the display racks, pointing to several glass containers. Aren't you here to see her? She's right here. It felt like the world collapsed with a deafening crash. Trembling all over, I slowly shuffled to the containers. My Diana. I was supposed to help her get better. But she, my vision went black, and I saw nothing more. After a severe illness, my memory deteriorated significantly. I couldn't even remember what I had for breakfast by noon. I spent sleepless nights, unable to close my eyes. Every time I did, I saw the scene from New Year's Eve at Universal Studios. Diana lying on the ground, looking back at me one last time. That was the last time Diana ever saw me. Alexander told me that on the day she was resuscitated in the ICU, he had asked her if she wanted to see me, but she refused. Every time I think of that moment, I break down in tears. So, Diana hated me that much. She didn't even leave me a place to mourn her. She wanted to punish me in such a cold, merciless way, leaving me worse off than dead. I was wrong, Diana. I really know I was wrong. I shouldn't have taken advantage of your kindness and love, constantly forcing you to be understanding, to be patient, and forgetting that you were all alone in this world, with no one to love you or care for you, relying on only me. But now that I've truly repented, can you come back to me, just to see me one more time? Even if it's just in my dreams, it would be enough. On Lunar New Year's Eve, I finally managed to get out of bed. Seeing my mother crying like a child, I smiled. Mom, stop crying. Your love suffocates me. I want to visit my father-in-law's grave and say I'm sorry. I failed to take care of his precious daughter. Before leaving the house, I turned back to look at her one last time. Mom, take care. At my father-in-law's grave, there was a bouquet of fresh flowers and some offerings. I knew Alexander had brought them, and I brought nothing. I knew I didn't deserve to. I was afraid that bringing anything would only anger him. I just wanted to say sorry. That's all. The cold north wind blew, and a lone crow cawed mournfully above. I knelt before the grave for an entire afternoon. As night fell, I slowly stood up, gently brushed the tombstone, and bowed deeply. On the way down the mountain, I opened the car window and sped up until I was driving recklessly fast. In the distance, it seemed like a thin mist was rising on the horizon, and in that faint fog, I thought I saw Diana, 15 years old, red-eyed and waving at me. William, are you going to leave me like Dad did? I shook my head desperately, shouting with all my might, Diana, wait for me. I'm coming to be with you. I won't ever leave you alone and scared again. Alexander's epilogue. At the age of 72, I finally solved the challenge of treating kidney cancer. The dean told me that I had brought glory to our country and benefited all of humanity. We became the first country in the world to successfully cure kidney cancer and have it validated through clinical trials, bringing hope to patients who had long suffered from this disease. But no one knew that the driving force behind my lifelong dedication and belief was a girl I loved deeply. And no one knew that as brilliant as my success was, my heart was equally filled with pain, because the girl I loved didn't live to see this day. I first met her, my senior, during my first anatomy class. Despite all the mental preparation, when we actually entered the dissection room and saw the real cadaver waiting for us, we were all too nervous and scared to move. She was invited by the professor as an outstanding student to help us with the psychological adjustment. She was very beautiful, but what was even more captivating was her gentleness. Her voice was soft and light, and no matter how serious the matter was, when she spoke, it felt like a gentle spring breeze, immediately calming everyone down. Her patience and composure were equally mesmerizing. No matter how complex the situation, she always handled it calmly and perfectly. I had never seen her lose her temper. Her emotions were always so peaceful and gentle. Just being around her brought a sense of security. And what stunned me even more was that she was a top student. To fully understand some foreign medical materials, she even went to the English department and earned a double degree. Every year, she won scholarships and awards in both departments, making me wonder if she was a fairy descended from the heavens. I wanted to pursue her, just like countless other guys who saw her as their goddess. But just as this thought emerged, I heard that she had a boyfriend from high school, a genius from our university's math department named William. Back then, I was too young and consumed by my fervent love, refusing to accept this reality. I believed that no one could love her more than I did. I believed I could compete with this William. So, I secretly investigated him, even following him to classes and meals. A year later, I finally admitted defeat. Setting aside William's brilliance, he truly adored her. She was always so elegant and serene, but only in front of him did she show her playful and spoiled side. And in her eyes, there was an unmistakable sparkle whenever she looked at him. All right, I admitted to myself that my hopes were in vain. My crush had already become so humble that I didn't want it to turn into something despicable. So, I buried all my feelings and sincerely wished them well, then threw myself into the lab, becoming the studious nerd in my classmates' eyes. After graduation, I pursued my PhD and stayed at the university, working tirelessly like a spinning top. Though we lived in the same city, I never saw her again except at a reunion during the university's anniversary celebration. She became even more charming after marriage. I didn't even dare to look at her for too long, fearing that she would see through the emotions I had desperately kept in check, and I would lose the chance to even be her friend. I could never have imagined that on that snowy winter solstice, she would call me and tell me she had kidney cancer. Just as I was racking my brain to figure out how to save her, she showed up at my office, pale-faced, telling me she wanted to donate her body to the university. After she left that day, I cried. It was embarrassing, but I couldn't hold back. The medical school was always in need of bodies for research, but few were willing to donate, even among us medical professionals. The idea of donating our own or our loved ones' bodies was something we often rejected. Even if we weren't superstitious, it was psychologically hard to accept the idea of having our remains treated like lab animals, dissected and torn apart. She was just like her name. She was truly like the pure, untouchable moon in the sky, admired from afar and revered. I don't like to recall what happened afterward. No matter how many years pass, it remains a heartbreaking chapter in my life. If I had known she would leave so soon, I would have taken a leave of absence from work and spent every moment with her. But unfortunately, I was too busy. I could only find a little time each day to visit her, and I didn't dare to let my emotions show too much. So I always tried to put on a serious, professional front. Because I knew her well, if she had sensed that I had romantic feelings for her, she would have kept her distance, and I wouldn't have had the chance to care for her at all. Back in school, she was the same way. If she didn't love someone, she wouldn't give them any hope, and therefore, wouldn't hurt them. She was such a clear-headed, kind-hearted, gentle, and considerate girl. But in the end, that bastard William failed her. So be it. She was the moon, destined to return to the heavens. This world didn't deserve her. After she passed, I signed a body donation agreement with the university as well. Her corneas were donated to a blind girl. I often visited that girl, and every time I looked into her eyes, it felt like I was seeing my senior smiling at me. The university leadership even made an exception and had her skeleton preserved as a complete structure, displayed in the lab building's exhibit hall. Every day, students passing by would bow respectfully to her, and I, in countless nights when I couldn't solve a problem or when I felt overwhelmed, would choose to sit there, by her side, finding peace and comfort in her presence, as if she were still there, never having left. Going back to that day when I brought William to the specimen room, when he fainted from shock, I took the opportunity to kick him several times, but even if he died, it wouldn't quench the hatred I felt for him. It was that bastard who made her last days so painful, and even in death, there were tears in her eyes. Every time I think of those tears in her eyes as she passed away, my heart feels like it's being torn apart. The pain is unbearable. Fortunately, fate intervened, and that bastard William died in a car accident on Lunar New Year's Eve. Killed instantly. He had also signed a body donation agreement with me. Did he think he would get to stay in the same specimen room as her? Not a chance. But before I could allocate his body to another medical school desperately in need of a cadaver, William's mother showed up, causing a huge commotion, tearing up the agreement, and taking his shattered remains away. There was nothing I could do. That's how it works even if someone signs a donation agreement while alive. If their family raises a fuss after their death, the donation can't go through. This was also why she had instructed me not to tell William immediately after she passed. She had completely given up on him. Later, I heard that William's mother went mad, carrying his ashes around the streets looking for him every day. She was eventually sent to a mental institution by the community. As for Hannah, I heard that William had arranged for her child to be aborted before he died. Not only did her family's business go bankrupt, but they were also left with huge debts and legal troubles. On top of that, the recording of her cursing Diana was released online by William, staying on the trending list for a long time. That family became social outcasts, hounded and cursed wherever they went, living worse than dogs. It wasn't until the year after William's death that I found out he had transferred all his shares before he died, giving the company to someone else and donating all his money to our medical school. That was fine. We could always use the funds. I never married or had children, dedicating all my energy to my work. My parents pressured and scolded me, but what could I do? The moon resided in my heart, leaving no room for anything else. No one could force me. I chose my own life, and it had nothing to do with anyone else, not even my parents. I'm getting older, and my students often worry about my health, not allowing me to perform surgeries anymore. I don't know how many more patients I'll be able to save, but every time I save one more, I feel happy for a long time. Just like tonight, after successfully performing another surgery and bringing hope to a patient's family. As I walked down the path where I once admitted her to the hospital, I looked up, and there in the sky was a gentle, glowing moon. For some reason, I always feel that the moon has become more beautiful since she left. Gazing at the moon, I seemed to hear her voice praising me with a smile. "Alexander, you're amazing." I smiled. "Senior, thank you. It was you who gave my life purpose and meaning. I didn't live this life in vain."